All right, I think we're going to start the meeting right now. Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Commission for the Arts meeting of the City of Encinitas. Today's February 2nd, 2026, Groundhog Day. And we're starting the meeting at 5:03. Let's, I don't have the documents up.
Is there a button I press to put the agenda?
Oh, I'll do that. It's the staff piece. Are you ready for roll call?
Pardon me?
Roll call.
Yes, yes, please, thank you.
Let the record show that all commissioners are present except Chair Fox and Commissioner Kadakia, who are absent.
Thank you. And our next one is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. For those who might not know me, my name is Jennifer Morakovitz. I serve as the vice chair, and our chair is absent tonight, and we miss her. So hopefully I can do a good enough job that she always does. She does a great job. Okay, do we have any special presentations or proclamations?
There are no special presentations tonight.
Thank you. And oral communications?
Yes, for oral communications, we have one speaker. Naime Woodward is here to speak on the topic of mural programs. As a reminder, you have 3 minutes to address the commission.
Well, good evening. Nice to see you all. Naime Woodward from Encinitas Friends of the Arts. I just wanted to put a quick plug in because I know you guys are going to be talking about your work plan and all that good stuff. If I could encourage you to perhaps add a mural program as part of the public art, because I know it's a long conversation and I'm happy to assist however I can. I've been on this topic for quite a while, and we're doing a presentation to you guys next month because we want to donate a mural. So it would be lovely to have a public policy so it's transparent, it's open, and it's there's a good dialogue, and so we can have that conversations about it. And I apologize, I should have forwarded this to you, but I'm happy to email it to you and make it part of the conversation, hopefully, as you move forward with your work plan. And thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Naime. Is there anybody else who do we have on the list?
There are no other speakers for oral communications.
Thank you. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the posted agenda.
Thank you. And number 7, the approval of the minutes of January 5th, 2026. Has everyone gotten a chance to read that, to review that?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. I'll second to approve it.
Let the record show that the motion passes with 5 commissioners voting yes, and except Commissioner Kadakia and Chair Fox, who are absent.
Thank you. Moving on to number 8, action items.
So we have one speaker who would like to speak to agenda item 8A. Brittany Delaney is here in support of recommended action 8A work plan item number 8 for performing arts, and she's representing Ground Series. So you may come up to the podium, and she has a presentation that she would like to share with the commission.
Staff, please see.
I think so, yeah.
Beautiful, look at that.
Just point at me when you want me to.
As a reminder, you have 3 minutes to address the commission.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm Brittany Delaney. I am representing Ground Series Dance Collective. We use art as a multi-purpose tool. Oh, and first I want to say I live here in Encinitas, and it's really great to see some of you. I was part of some of your Arts Commission meetings in October when you were developing the work plan, so really excited to continue the relationship. So I brought a presentation today about Ground Series Dance Collective. We use art as a multi-purpose tool, creating relationships with land, body, and history. So you can go forward. We've collaborated with a bunch of artists, a bunch of different beautiful places, galleries and natural sites, institutions like libraries and gymnasiums and schools. You can keep going. This project was a piece we did in New Mexico that was tarrying with geologic time and blackness, and it was an 8-hour durational piece led by Miles Tocono and Nikesha Breeze and Laz Letcher. It evolved over 4 to 5 years and was recently presented in the Getty's PST ART show, which was really incredible as a dance film. We had QR codes along the walk in the mountains so people could engage with stories. We also did a book club. You can go on. That was one of the last images we had. We also streamed it on Instagram. You can go on. Another piece we did is called Our Bodies Warm in the Sun, Unsettled. And that was another outdoor piece. You can go on. You can see we're doing some body workshops there. This most recent piece I choreographed was called Grounding, and it was a mobile workshop site-specific performance in Riverside, California, activating civil rights memorials and telling those stories and kind of moving us into action. So you can go on. I published an article about how to activate dancers and city planners. And since I've lived here, I've been making amazing relationships and really excited to continue to build upon Ground Series engagement in Encinitas. So I've been learning about the Cottonwood Creek watershed. You can go on, and you can go on one more. And our working titles is 3 Stages of Memory. And so we're asking this question about how artists can excavate that which has been hidden in plain sight and develop relationships. So you can go on about the place through programs and practice. I'm really excited to continue to share updates and share the love of this place with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we cannot engage, or could we?
We can comment, though.
We can comment about it.
Do you mind if I just?
Oh, yes, go
if I just
ahead.
wait?
Comment.
Because I've got to know Brittany a little bit since she attended our workshop and had some fantastic input for us at that event. And so, coming myself from kind of a performing arts background and covering the performing arts, I feel as though there's kind of a magic to site-specific performance, not just the kind of air of unpredictability and the serendipity it provides, but the ways it can kind of connect the histories that are written into both the geography and the built environment of a place. And from what I know of Ground Series and looking at what they've done on their website and talking to Brittany about this, I think they really capture the power of that form so well. There's a quote on the website that we perform in spaces not usually activated by dance, creating opportunities for unexpected audiences and radical accessibility, which I think are really powerful statements. And I really appreciate their kind of abiding sense of collaboration and care that comes through all of the projects. They partner with community stewards and target audiences to receive feedback and accountability before, during, and after the work is shown. So it's very tied into the community. I really urge you all to go look over the Ground Series website and look at, I think, the most recent piece, Grounding, right? And other projects that the company has done, and read Brittany's piece about connecting dance and city planning. as I told her, I really loved this observation of hers from that piece. And I'm just going to quote here. In welcoming more people to imagine and move in a relationship to our bodies, lands, and histories, we can reorient ourselves to creativity, connection, and home. So I think we're lucky to have her and the company attached to our community now. The way they bring so much meaning to their art is what really hit home for me. And I think this is just, an amazing opportunity for the commission and the city to support something that's just really original, powerful, and rooted in the community. So that's my piece to add to the 3 minutes. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to say something? I would like to say I'm pretty intrigued by it. I think it adds a different element of and I'm not a dancer, but I feel like in that kind of environment I could be, and if you remove all the walls around you and the mirrors and things like that, and you engage to the environment, and I love about the just connection with the histories here, and we have a rich history here in Encinitas. It would be wonderful to bring that out. We've already brought it out through the El Portal mosaics, and it'd be great to bring it out in another medium as well. So I appreciate that you came by to bring this to our attention, to consider, because we'll be writing and planning our work plan for next year. And there's a segment under performing arts, and I think that's an element that's missing, and dance is one. So thank you. You've planted some seeds of thought.
Thank you for coming, Brittany. It was so great to work with you at our workshop. And of course, I love dance. I'm a theater and dance major, but I'm not a very good dancer, so I don't dance anymore. I'll watch. I think that this is maybe a way that the agenda item of trying to introduce art into our parks and rec, into parks, could be, executed. It's something that the open spaces certainly tie well together with that agenda item, and I know that was something that is still an ongoing deliverable. So I thank you for those avenues to explore, and good luck.
Thank you, Dave. Yes.
Brittany, if you could just wait, let me give you a business card. Let's connect too. So thank you very much for the presentation.
All right. Thank you. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing the complete document or the agenda on my screen. So, but I do see the. Oh, thank you. Okay, I got it. Thank you. I'm embarrassed. All right. Okay, so now we're moving on to the action items, which we already started with section 8. And does anybody have any work plan updates? So at this point, we're taking updates, and looking at the calendar, we have about 2 more months left until our work plan expires. But does anybody have anything special? Yeah, thank you.
I have an update for work plan item number 5, arts advocacy. In our last meeting, we had the Environmental Commission come and speak about the environmental awards. So I just wanted to provide an update that I did meet with 2 members of the Environmental Commission, and we talked through what the environmental awards program looks like as far as the timing, the budget, and things like that. And so I got some details. I also heard from Katie that Councilmember Joy said that there was a program that ran for about 3 years that provided an opportunity for local artists to create the awards that were being given to the Environmental Commission nominees. So we can maybe, Dave, I don't know if you can provide any past information when that program was running.
I'm unaware of it, but we can look that up and bring it back.
Okay, thank you. And so the Environmental Commission is very open to this idea. We suggested putting together a call for artists in the spring of this year, and then, potentially finalizing decisions about which artists and artwork would be used for the Environmental Commission in the fall, and then have those awards be given out in 2027. So that would probably be the soonest that the local artists could, present their awards. And so I just wondered if, that's the general report. I just wondered what next steps are as far as, should we create a proposal that we vote on for the next meeting?
If I remember correctly through the environmental committee, that was the goal. So I mean, if you've come together and created a plan, then yeah, we can bring that back next month if you're ready, or if that's later, and then have it reviewed by the commission, and then they could approve it.
Okay, and then we could just send it along to city council. Okay. So that's the long and the short of my update. Thanks.
Thank you. That's wonderful work. Okay, now we'll move on to the directives. Number 1, generate ideas for generating revenue and generating ideas. So we have a guest here. We have Scott Drapkin, Director of Development Services, is going to speak about zoning and permits of the Pacific View Arts Center. So we'll turn the time over to him.
I'm going to cut him off for just a
Sure.
second. So one, I want to say, I want to share, thank you for Scott for coming. Jack, today is City Council strategic planning at the library. So we've been up there since 8 o'clock this morning with council working through strategic plans for next year. So if we seem like I'll speak for myself. If I seem a little unorganized and I'm chasing my paperwork, just making my excuse up front. We appreciate Scott coming. We've had a lot of questions back and forth with the commission discussing what the zoning requirements are, going back to the February 16th, 2022 City Council special council meeting, and discussing where to go with zoning. City Council direction when we opened Pacific View was open Pacific View and get going with what you're allowed. We got through that first year, and as part of the work plan goals is start looking at what are the restrictions, what are the challenges. Let's not say restrictions, let's say the challenges, and how do we start taking that steps. And so, you guys have had discussions of some of the questions. I've got notes, I can help the conversation, but I'll pass it on to Scott, but we'll be ready to discuss it, and questions that we can't answer, we'll bring back, and we appreciate this opportunity with Scott.
Good evening, Commissioners. Again, my name is Scott Drapkin. I am the Director of Development Services for the City of Encinitas. I have about 30 plus years of experience in land use development. Coincidentally, I've worked only for artists type focused cities. I've worked for Laguna Beach for about 20 so many years, I don't want to talk about it. And I also work for the City of Costa Mesa, which is known as City of the Arts, which is like, it has a Segerstrom Center and some other facilities that are art related. I've worked on several art master plans, art in public places fees. So I've got, coincidentally, this great art background, which I never thought I needed or ever was interested in, but it's wonderful. I certainly enjoy working with it, in situations where I've required development to have art in public places or different art-related resources. So I wanted to bring that up real quick because I was just thinking about it. I was just pondering it. But more than that, I've got some ideas. The one drawback of me is I only have I think it's about 8 or 9 months here now, so I'm still learning the city a little bit, but I've got a lot of great staff that can keep me updated, so I'm glad to help. And I know kind of the questions that you're going to have with regards to really energizing the property. And I've got some ideas of maybe how to do that, but want to hear your ideas also. So might not have all the answers tonight, but I'd like to get all your questions, and then maybe Dave and I can return with some great answers or some ways to go forward. So I'm open to any questions that the commission might have, and thank you for inviting me to be here tonight.
Well, I think that you have so much information. Is there anything that would it be easier for us to probe one at a time, or could you just give us your best assessment of the site and what is potential that we're not doing? Ways to bring more capacity, or should we ask each question one at a time?
No, I think that's a good question, and it definitely will stimulate the conversation. There are certainly, the property is located in the public and semi-public zone. It allows for a variety of uses by right. It allows for a variety of uses by a conditional use permit, which we call locally a major use permit. And then it prohibits certain uses as well. So, but what I was thinking about with regards to the site and getting it energized with different services that would sort of help establish it as this resource that the city wants is coming in individually with uses as they come, so to speak, but more or less creating a plan and getting a permit for all the plan type uses that might occur there. Maybe the wins, the how much, the how lates. You might have a certain amount of outdoor events on the grass area I've only been to the site a couple times, so excuse me for my lack of knowledge, but just different aspects of the site use. We could get a sort of an overreaching permit for it and move forward that way. So I bring that up because I'd like the commissioners to maybe think in that direction. You certainly don't want to come back for every type of request that might come up or every idea, but in order to do that, you have to get ahead of the questions and sort of have an idea of what uses that you might want to have operate at that site. I don't have all the great answers for that. So I'm open to hearing what the commission's ideas for those uses. I'll write them down and then basically package up a permit that we might have to take to Planning Commission and get approved, and that way you can start operating under that permit and then move on from there. So if you need to, it doesn't have to be the end all. It can change next year, or you can make modifications to it, or there might be ideas for temporary uses that might occur on the site as well. But again, I have a team of great staff back behind this wall, and actually 2 walls back, and they really can help me kind of get together all the information that I need to get for the commission to really make some great decisions on how to use this site.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. That sounds great. I was hoping, I have a couple of things that kind of keep coming up, and I was hoping I could get your insight on some of them. Maybe sort of a general question to start off, kind of like you mentioned, we're very interested in activating that outdoor space. And so thinking about different things to do in that space, for example, kind of artist talks, outdoor performances, workshops, community gatherings, that sort of thing. What, from like a permitting standpoint, what factors usually matter most for events like that? Is that something that you could imagine getting that overreaching permit for?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So we've, I've seen permits that occur for city-owned sites. I've done permitting on beaches where we've, had to involve the Coastal Commission, where we've had rotating artist demonstrations that would occur like at an outdoor site, and people could tour it. All types of different activities that really activize the arts cultures.
Great. And then in terms of, I've heard some people talk about like commerce and if money's exchanged, does that make a difference if there's a market or art market or something like that on the site? Would that alter the permits?
Can I add in? Sure. If you don't mind, I'll jump in sometimes with the additional information we've heard along the way. I mean, so for that question, and correct me if I have it wrong, we've read through, and our understanding from the permitting process is we couldn't sell commercially, but we could sell, if we had an art show, we could sell. At least that's the way we read it. But we couldn't sell art supplies, is the way we read the permit. Is that something that we could take to as part of the MUP, or I don't know, is there a way around it?
Yeah, I think that we could look into having, ancillary sales for certain events. And that might be something that the commission is, basically, they might want to do it with, 10, 20, during the summertime. I don't know. It depends on what really interests the commission, but there might be options for that, certainly. It's not, definitely not zoned for retail, but also from a perspective of, having sales like that are art related. I don't see a real drastic problem in that.
Awesome. Sorry, one more question. So food and drink, coffee often, really helps activate spaces, and a lot of people bring up the ideas of food trucks or coffees, cafe cart, coffee cart, that kind of thing. Can you kind of help me think through different scenarios? For example, like a coffee cart that's there during an event, or a coffee cart that's always there, or food trucks that are there during an event, or that are there every Saturday. Is that a possibility? Is one easier than the other? What kind of things do we think about there?
Yeah, one of the uses that's allowed is a farmer's market. Requires an agricultural permit. Usually those permits are permits that are associated with certain amount of consumption. So all the farmers markets that I've gone to, there's some things that I can eat and some things I need to prepackage and take home. I don't know, but usually I'm munching by the end of my walk through the farmers market. I'm eating some of the food that I'm buying. So yeah, I would say that there's probably some opportunities for that.
Great. Okay, and then my final question is thinking about parking. So there's that large kind of parking area right now. How do we think about maybe temporarily blocking those parking spaces for certain events? Is that possible? How much can we block? How do we know whether that's possible or not?
Yeah, typically when the department reviews uses related to parking, it's based on their parking demand. So if we feel that if we're going to create a parking impact on the neighborhood, we'll be a little bit more careful with how much of the parking lot will remove the parking spaces. Maybe there might be a happy medium where they can use a portion of the lot but still have enough parking available. Or there might be even a cache of on-street parking where we don't think a temporary event will be problematic based on hours of operation or the days of the week, or potentially, I know the fire department is now sharing that lot as well. Maybe they won't be required to use that, but I think with the fire department utilizing that site as well, we have to be somewhat careful with access in and out, at least, I would imagine.
If I could add too, so just know, it's 31 parking spots before the fire station. So assume we took a couple off of that. So we're probably looking at 28 or 29 available spots right now.
Okay, thank you. You had some more questions, right?
Yeah, thank you for being here, Scott. And just to kind of follow up on Commissioner Romer's questions, I went over to the site today because I'm interested in the idea of a temporary theater space or amphitheater there because, as you know, doing performance at the Arts Center is problematic inside for the capacity issues and everything else. So I wondered, I was trying to picture, can you speak at all to kind of where, if there were going to be, say, temporary performance space, like where that would be located? There's kind of a space that's at I want to say the northwest corner near the schoolhouse. But I'm sure that depends on how large of a space, how much capacity we're talking about. So,
Without seeing the site, but I will in a moment here, typically you want to distance events like that away from adjacent residential or other sensitive uses that might be in the area. It seems like there's quite a bit of space on that site, and we'll know in just a moment. Dave's having problems with his Google Maps.
Can you clarify, James, are you talking about an indoor building, a building or an outdoor? I was
Outdoor, like a temporary, kind of a seating area and a stage, but outdoors, yeah. I mean, I think that's the kind of the general concept, so. Yeah.
There, one thing worth mentioning is for these open air theaters, that's a permitted use by major use permit. So it's a considered happenings more or less at the site. So I think that lawn area probably would be something that you could do in that area.
There we go.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah, fire department's here now
Okay.
and get 31 spots between
Yeah,
the two.
I envisioned it being differently. I apologize.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, before the fire station, we had an open area over
Right,
there.
so that no longer
We won't
exists.
see that for years.
So that's why the parking lot, you're trying to look at the parking lot. Yeah.
That's got community garden and,
Yeah.
not a whole lot of open area.
I could see using the parking lot for some open theater or open type artist events there, yeah.
Okay.
And then that would be something that you'd want to establish in a permit and, maybe, like I said, use it up to how many events a year at these times, and these, this, where there's this many anticipated people that will be attending it. And I can go through the building department and the fire department from a capacity perspective to make sure we dot all those i's and cross those t's. But there's certainly some opportunities there. Not as many, I thought there was a large lawn for some dumb reason, but my mind escaped me on it. So I guess the parking lot is really, it's one of your opportunity areas and primarily it.
Yeah, thank you. And just just one other thing, because you talked about your experience in working in this area, and I wondered, doing a little asking around and doing some research, it seemed as though there were particular topics or particular things that were likely to be obstacles, and one of them was sound permitting. And you mentioned, this being close to residential. Is that something, or are there other challenges that you think we're likely to encounter, or?
Typically on a public facility like this, when we have the ability to regulate uses that operate on site, it's not as important to get into all the details with noise and light and all those other potential impacts to adjacent properties and sensitive uses as there would be if it was a private use. So it's not to say that you wouldn't want to try to cover at least as much as you could with an overall site permit. But I certainly think that there'd be areas where Dave could come to myself, suggest a certain type of activity, and we could generalize it enough in the permit to where it would work, and maybe put some bumpers on it to where it wouldn't create impacts. So,
Great. Well, it sounds like there are possibilities there, so that's really good to hear. So thank you again.
I have another question. I was wondering if, in your experience, if it's common to use sort of, I guess, pilot programs or sort of temporary activations to kind of inform maybe longer-term decisions? Have you seen examples of any of these other cities doing something like that?
yeah, 100%.
Okay. So is that something that you would recommend also for us in terms of moving forward with permitting, doing like a short-term or like a one-off kind of pop-up event, and then use that to then figure out what we want to do more permanently?
Yeah, there's some of the events that I've had experience with have been events where in Laguna we had a large grassy area in front of City Hall, and we would put artist installs in there, and they would last for a month. And then there was artist installs on the beach, on Main Beach, just on the weekend. And both required separate permitting or what have you, but usually it was a TUP, which is a temporary use permit for those type of activities. But yeah, there's all kinds of opportunities for artist installs when it comes to using public property.
Great, thank you. This has been very exciting to hear. Sounds like there's a lot of possibilities.
I had a question about, I know there'd been an open house event at Pacific View, and I wondered if having like an art reception or an opening with sort of gallery display for art in the different rooms where people could pass through and attend a reception, and maybe that art is for sale. Does that present any issues with capacity if it's more of an open come and go type of affair?
Yeah, it's oddly enough, in that zone, it says an art gallery is prohibited, but that's much different than an artist display. So I think from a gallery perspective, it's more of a retail type activity. Whereas, an open air theater is generally consistent more with, a non-retail artist type event, so, which is allowed use by a major use permit. The Planning Commission is allowed to look at uses that aren't included in the land use matrix and make a consideration if it's close enough to other type uses, make a determination with a major use permit that that's an allowed or a permitted use with a major use permit. So I think I could definitely tie the two together, given the fact that there's an open air theater which is allowed.
Okay.
It's like it's going that direction a little.
So maybe just get away from the word gallery and have it be more of a student art display reception or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think that's where you could go.
Okay, thank you. And then my last question is just about live music. Is it fall into the same theater zoning as far as like noise or?
Yeah, that's definitely where you talk about when you involve the live music is where my eyebrow gets raised, and I have to raise a little bit of a red flag. Doesn't mean that it can't happen. Certainly non-amplified music or even amplified music during hours that wouldn't interrupt the normal presence of residential, which is adjacent. That shouldn't be a problem. Or even if it would only be for a limited period, and the neighbors are notified, and it's expected. I will say I'm not 100% familiar with the neighborhood activities and what people are saying that live around there. But knowing that we own the property, it seems like we could regulate it if things get out of hand, which is usually the lever that we want to have control when it's private. We want to be able to condition something to the point where if it does go in a different direction or it creates impacts, we can pull it back. But having ownership of the property changes everything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for being here and for starting with the information that you provided to get us started. We've had challenges with the room capacity within the rooms that are instructional. And are the room capacities that have been established realistic, or is there a potential that they could get increased?
Yeah, the room capacities or occupancy, as we call it in the building department, is based on a couple things. It's not just the space. Sometimes it's based on the door hardware or how large the opening is for the door. So you could have, for example, a capacity of a max occupancy of 30 people in a room this large, but then it could go up to 200 if you have push doors like this room does have on both sides and multiple accesses and then an exit. So it really depends on what is available at the site. It's not just one criteria. It has a lot of things going on. There's a lot of moving parts to occupancy. So it might be upgraded if possible, but
Doors.
usually that percentage isn't too drastic. It's usually about 20%.
What I'm referring to, and there was some sort of a capacity that was based on it being a school versus the use of the room, and what I believe is that we selected the lowest capacity to be safe. And so is there an opportunity to kind of double check those rooms and see if they're being too short, if we're shorting ourselves on any capacity issues? I think that I heard that, but
Yeah, if I could add on to your question, this is something Katie has brought up also. So I was like ready to okay, if it doesn't get asked, I'm going to ask on
good.
Katie's behalf too. I think it really comes down to, in the question, I appreciate having Scott here to take on this question, is like, who do we go to? Because what has happened over the years in different, I mean, you had multiple years of different questions. Who do we ask? What's our path to find out what the room capacity should be?
Yeah, our building official, he would be a great resource to just walk through the site and really look into those type of things. Depending on the use, there are other requirements like facilities, bathrooms.
Right.
That comes into play as well. But he's really a good resource for that. And we could walk the site and take a look at it to see if we could meet an occupancy that matches the demand that you want to put on the use.
that'd be really helpful, especially if there were notes as he's going through that, if this door was changed, we could double the capacity of the room. Then we would want to report that back to council.
Right. Yeah, I was trying to think of an example with a recent restaurant that we just looked at where the building official came in and said, but if you fix these tables, then you can have more, for some reason, more occupancy. I can't recall exactly why now my mind escapes me, but by locking the tables down, it helped occupancy. It could get more tables and I think it had something to do with the movement of escape routes or something like that. But my point is that the building official has been wonderful with sort of bouncing questions off and trying to get the answer that you're looking for.
I think that would be
Solution,
fabulous.
I should say, not answer.
I have a couple more. Let's see. So for you can go too. For each permit, you have to apply, and for each event, it's not like we can do 75 events a year. It's like each one has to be approved, or can you get like a blanket number of permits, number of people, and how does that work?
Yeah, I would suggest the latter, and you would get more of a conditional use permit for the site that allowed a certain amount of events and at certain times, at certain locations, and with certain occupancies. And just going through the whole process and getting them approved, and then that would run with the land. It wouldn't have to be updated yearly or anything like that. And then if you wanted to make some tweaks down the road, if there were something that I could tweak from a director perspective, under my discretion, or we could take it up if it was something like a large event where you wanted to have, maybe double the occupancy in the parking lot and not use the parking spaces. something similar like that. We would have to look a little deeper into it.
So in your experience, how many events a year is reasonable for a property of that size?
I mean, it depends. Sometimes it's programmed weekly. It's programmed, every other weekend, only during the afternoon. It just depends. I think in my experience, it was dependent on the site. So, but yeah, I'm trying to think of a good example where, in some situations, having 20 a year was the limitation. In other situations, when there was a lot of neighbor potential issues, the neighborhood would be fine with 4 or 5 outside events or something similar like that. It really depends on the event, the location, the neighborhood. So the city requires a public outreach process. So upon submittal and before hearing, we would get a lot of public feedback on what we wanted to do here. And we could tweak the land use permit to make it work. So maybe there would avoid controversy.
Is there a minimum threshold for needing a permit, or are small activities allowed on the property without getting permits?
So I believe you're going to be in with a planning commission review of a major use permit at the end of the day. And it's not problematic. It's just something that you're going to need to do, and it'll basically include a resolution or a permit that portrays your approval of different things that you're allowed to do on that property. And if for modification of that permit, like say that it didn't line up exactly with what the 20 things that were permitted, the code also allows me to approve with limitations certain changes to that permit, as long as it's not out of line. And then if it is something that I'd feel more comfortable bringing up, I'd bring it back to the planning commission. So there's different levels of review that might occur, but that's why it might be important to get as comprehensive as you can with the permit that we have on the site.
Pack as much into it.
Yeah, just pack as much into as you can.
What about the receptions? Would there be alcohol allowed to be use even tickets or something like that, so it's not a financial transaction?
Yeah, typically on those events, those temporary type events, the ABC requires that the person that is providing the alcohol service have a permit for that, an ABC license. But that would be something that we'd want to ingrain into the permit, that you would be allowed to have certain, I don't know about sales, but the opportunity to have alcohol provided.
Explore what the options
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Because another option that I have had several people approach me with is like a beer cart. And so that would obviously not be, it would be a completely different situation. We'd like to explore all of it.
Yeah, that would be definitely something I'd want to look into a little bit more and deep dive into, see what the land use regulations say, and then also ABC and.
If you could do that, that would be great.
There's also the combo of risk management too. It's that facility, as in many city facilities, one of the challenges is as a city, are we willing to do it under our risk management too? Then you also have ABC, alcohol beverage control, and their limitations on a site, which also can involve the neighborhood. So just,
Yeah.
I'm not saying no, I'm just saying there's lots of hoops.
Well, we were talking about galas and about receptions, and that changes the type of event you can have. So I thought it was clarifying. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks. I have a couple questions. I appreciate everyone has kind of generated my wheels in my brain. I was wondering if you can explain maybe to everyone in the public too, about major and minor permits. I know in terms of music what it means, but that would be helpful to know the difference between that. And like looking at the chart, you have permitted, and you have major, and you have minor, and that would just be helpful to have a little clarity with that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So similar to all the zonings throughout California, there are uses that are permitted by right, which basically in a zone, that it's a commercial zone, it might allow any retail that's permitted by right. And then what that means is you can get a permit over the counter. It doesn't require planning commission. It doesn't require critical director review. It's basic. It's stated in the zoning code, and you're allowed to have that use. You obtain a business license, and you're good to go. The next level above that might be a minor use permit, where maybe it's a restaurant and they have outdoor cafe or something like that, where a restaurant is considered a use could be allowed there, but the outdoor cafe could create potential neighborhood impacts. So we'd want to put conditions on it to say you have to close by 10, you can't have live entertainment, or all those different bumpers that we'd want to include on a permit. That might be the next level of a minor use permit. Now, a major use permit might come into play in the same zone where it would be a restaurant, and then they were going to have alcohol. Alcohol brings a totally different world to a permit, because you just have got to assume that there's going to be alcohol-related issues, whether it be people loud after they enjoy a lot of alcohol, or any other type of requirements where we're trying to regulate the sale of minor or anything like that. When it comes to the sale of alcohol, that might be a major use permit consideration. So there's different categories, and it really depends on the level of the intensity of the use in the zone that it's allowed. This might be completely an allowed use, and I'm giving you examples for throughout a zoning code, but an allowed use might be permitted in one zone, and then that same use in another zone might be my major use permit. Still something you can obtain a permit for, it's just has some bumpers, it has some conditions of approval. So in this situation, sort of to get to your question, and even in your 2022 report by Roy, who was my predecessor, he gave a example of different uses that are permitted, prohibited, allowed under an agriculture permit, allowed under a minor use permit, allowed under a major use permit in the public and semi-public zone, which is the zone category that the property lies in. And for example, theater and places of public assembly, that's a permitted use there. So you don't need a planning commission approval. An auditorium, it's permitted. Educational institution, that's private, that's permitted. Public recreational facility, it's permitted. Community garden requires an ag permit. Farmer's market, an ag permit. A swap meet is a minor use permit, and et cetera, et cetera. Outdoor sales, minor use permit. Major use permit would be an open air theater. And then you get down into, oddly enough, an art gallery would be prohibited. Pottery sales is prohibited, and private recreational facility is prohibited as well. So all the zones have their limitations and have their land use categories, and they fall under those categories of either allowed by right, allowed by minor permit, allowed by major use permit, prohibited, and then maybe a whole range of other permits, like an agriculture permit for the city of Encinitas.
Okay, I just have a couple more down here I was thinking about. So basically, getting back to the theater and music, like I've been to like outdoor pageants and things like that, and which are cool. And they have mobile or set up, things that could be like where the art or the tech department has to set up like amplifiers and microphones, and so they need to have electricity. They need to be able to do that. They need to be able to plug in lighting, things like that. So I think those are some other elements that would go with maybe theater and music, outdoor music. You would need to have access to energy. So would there be something that could be like built into the ground, or some kind of, if there was a pavilion of some kind, if some kind of circular thing, would there be a place where it could be designated for tech? So what kind of, where are we going with that, with permits for that, and what would that involve? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, once you get or you obtain approval of a permit that might allow for that use, then you would follow up with it's called a TI, or a tenant improvement, for permits that would allow the infrastructure. What you're talking about is maybe audio and video, or light or electricity, whatever it might be. That would follow up, and it would be something that would be probably included in Dave's CIP for improvements to the property, and it would roll through a council approval ultimately, I would imagine. I could be wrong, but it's since it's a city property, the city council would most likely have discretion to approve improvements to it, unless it was minor enough that the city manager could take the lead on it. Funding is sometimes the problem with those type of asks.
Yeah, and the pageants that I've been to, and when they close down the pageant, it kind of goes back to almost being a natural environment. But there's secret places, where things are, like where the outlets go and everything like that, and the lights, and where posts can go in for lighting and things like that. So I was just wondering about that. And I might just ask one last thing. So basically what I heard you say, instead of kind of, I guess, like an a la carte list of things, it would be best to have like a package of ideas that might go under one sort of permit, like major permit, and to provide that so that you wouldn't have to do like one at a time, I guess. And maybe could you share with us what that process would be like?
Yeah,
absolutely. Can I make a quick interruption? I just was directed by IT staff. If you could, Mr. Drapkin, speak into the mic or turn on your microphone when you speak, because they're not picking it up on the recording.
Okay, thank you.
That's better.
That's better.
Sorry about that.
You got to start over again, I'm afraid.
So usually I speak loud enough to not have to worry about that. But from a processing perspective, the commission might work out a list of land uses that would occur on the site, and the locations and the times and the places, and basically put together a scope of use for the site. And then development services staff would take a look at it, review it. We would do a outreach meeting if it required planning commission review. It's called a CPP, and the neighbors would be involved at that point with a notification list. And at that point, the city staff would prepare a staff report. And along with that staff report, it would be mostly, from what I can hear, it'd be something like a major use permit, unless it involved a lesser discretionary requirements, where I could approve it as a director, which is a possibility. And what that would include would be a resolution of approval, which is attached to the staff report, and it includes conditions. And those conditions might be operating hours, operating days, operating locations. There might be other aspects of it, like requiring sound devices when there's going to be music involved, or other type of requirements for parking, using use of the parking lot and how many spaces are allowed to use that. The amount of people are allowed on one day might not be the same amount of people that are allowed during another day, depending on what the intensity of the land use and the times. So all of those things would be included in the staff report and the resolution of approval under the conditions of approval. And then that approval would follow with the land, and which essentially means that it doesn't need to be updated yearly or anything like that. And then it would also allow me a device as a director to look at when the commission or Dave has other ideas about operations there. I could look at it from a perspective, well, that is generally within keeping of what the land use approval was. Although it's not specifically mentioned, it's kind of close enough. So, and then the city could approve a use that's not exactly explicitly written in the land use approval, but it's close enough. The code allows for me to do that with other private properties and private land uses as well. So it'd be nothing unique to what the city property would allow. So, but that would sort of be the process. There might be a little bit more involvement because the commission would have to, the process would first run through the commission. There might be a council review, depending on how Dave feels with the comfort of allowing something like that to proceed, or what the previous direction from the council was, which I'm not 100% clear on. So I'm getting away from my mic. Sorry about that. But yeah, I don't, this is pretty normal operations from a land use perspective and a permitting perspective. We would look at it from what the code allows and allow what a permit would allow for, and use our best practices on putting some information in front of the commission to see how we could sort of entertain what their needs are for the site.
Thank you. And then I just, in describing that whole process, are we talking months?
Probably,
A year?
probably months. I wouldn't go as far as a year, but somewhere between maybe 3 and 7 months.
All right. I think that kind of concludes everything I was thinking about. Anybody else have new questions have come to mind? No? All right.
Thank you very much, commissioners.
Actually, what's that? Would you go for it?
I was just going to ask how quickly you could get just a minor use permit. What's the lead time for something like that?
I want to say that we're running the minor use permit about a month and a half at this point. I'd have to talk with the planning manager to see exactly the timing on it. Sometimes they go a little bit longer because our corrections after they submit are intensive, or the applicant might take a minute or two to get back to us. But I was thinking we were going about a month and a half. We have to do a noticing for it, which takes a couple of weeks. We have to back out of that, and then schedule it for a certain date. But beyond that, it doesn't take too much time.
All right. I think that gives us some things to think about. I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you so
problem.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. I was talking with Director Knopp about B there, about Work Plan B, number 4, and it doesn't really have anything to do with under that subheading. But I was wondering if Director Knopp could describe more about the cultural district business for work plan number 4.
I would be honored.
Thank you.
So cultural arts district, there's a state designation through the California Arts Commission that was open this summer. We took the information to City Council for discussion, and the decision was not to pursue it this year. It's something that may be pursued in the future, and it was something that was pursued 6-7 years ago. There was some legal language in the process at the state level that was concerning, so that led to the choice not to do that. We also, though, took that, City Council said to look at what the value is in being designated cultural district. You can self-designate, maybe historic district, what was the path? And it went to the I'm sorry, I'm spacing on the name, the Cultural Tourism District. And they've created a subcommittee, and they're in the process of looking through this. Some of the discussions in the subcommittee is, do you create something like a cultural loop or an artistic loop? Do you create a cultural neighborhood? So your designation doesn't always have to be district. California Arts Commission did designate Liberty Station as one of their choices this go around. So good for Liberty Station, very, very artistic and kind of a creative path for them to go. So we were happy for that. But that's where we are when it comes to cultural art district at this time.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to number 2. Or did anybody have any comments about that? Or you're good with that? Okay. Number 2, recommending goals and policies for arts that are consistent with all the other general art plan elements. And so basically what we're doing here is with that, we're not generating any goals and policies this time. We had the goals workshop a couple months ago. We're going to decide on a special workshop to set for more exploration on this with the public. And that would be, our choices are March 9th, Monday, March 9th, or Thursday, March 19th, from 5 to 7 in the poinsettia room. So, shall we decide on that date? Monday or Thursday? Go ahead.
Both days work for me. I think having on the Monday is maybe easier because it's our usual Monday evening time. But either one works for me.
Either works for me, too.
Either one works for me as well.
And I'm flexible too.
Jennifer, if
Yes.
just share, Katie also was good with both those dates. So yeah, Monday worked for her too.
Wonderful. Could we just throw it out there, maybe Monday, since we're used to meeting on Monday? All right. Shall we, do we need to make a formal vote on that? Do we need to make a formal note? Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to schedule the special meeting and workshop for Monday, March 9th, from 5 to 7 in the poinsettia room.
I'll second.
Okay.
Let the record show that the motion to hold a special meeting on Monday, March 9th passes with all commissioners voting yes, except Chair Fox and Commissioner Kadakia, who are absent.
Okay. And that's where we're just gonna leave it right there. But for B, we want to be mindful to invite guests and for public comment. So if anybody has some people they'd like to come to this, please spread the word. And also to notify we can notify Director Knopp as well. How much time do you need ahead of that? Maybe 2 weeks?
2 weeks should be great, yes.
All right. So that takes care of that. And now we're moving on to number 3. And this is simply, we voted the last time on the arts donation, work plan number 7. This is a reminder that it's scheduled to be reviewed by City Council on February 18th. And that's, so I don't think there's anything else for that to do. Moving on to number 4, are there any other work plan items of discussion? Okay. So then, yes.
Sorry, Jennifer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which number it is, but the Cultural Tourism Committee, I've been the liaison to that, and I'm not going to be here. So the next meeting is actually this Thursday. I think Katie is the alternate, and Robin, I think you're the second alternate. So just putting that out there, if someone can go in my stead, because I won't be able to report back, which is kind of the whole point. So, yeah.
Would you mind just sharing the details of that meeting with us, just so that Katie and I can figure out who needs to go?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I will do that. It's basically 9 a.m. Thursday, but I'll send you the info.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, now we can move on to number 9, informational items. 9A with the Cultural Arts Division report.
Thank you. Pacific View Art Center, we are working on classes for the spring brochure, and a lot of push to do that. I don't have an additional report for Pacific View at this time. I will pass this on to Acting Supervisor Hollingsworth, though, for city-run programs.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Devin Hollingsworth. I am the Acting Arts Supervisor. I will be giving you an update on city-run programs. And I just want to start off by saying I'm going to start off with agenda item 9A, and I will run through 9B, so stick with me. To start, throughout January, the Wednesdays at Noon concert series featured 3 Villa Lobos performances, all with a full house at every show. That takes place at the Encinitas Library in the community room. On January 18th, we had our first Ocean of Poetry reading event featuring Patricia Aya Williams as our featured poet. The event was very successful with over 70 people in attendance. On January 23rd, we had our first Music by the Sea concert of the series. This was a sold-out performance, mostly being season passes that sold out. So those are people who paid for all 6 concerts with the season pass. Throughout January, we finished installing our visual art exhibitions for the start of this year. So new artwork can be found here at City Hall, at the Encinitas Library, and the Encinitas Community and Senior Center. It's both 2D and 3D art. It's very beautiful. I encourage you all to check them out if you have time. Looking ahead at the commission calendar for what's to come, for the month of February, we have a Wednesday at noon concert every week, starting with the San Diego Jewish Men's Choir on February 4th. The next Ocean of Poetry event is scheduled for February 15th with Andrea Carter as our featured poet. The next Music by the Sea concert is on Friday, February 20th, which has actually sold out as well, almost a month ahead, which is great, very great news. We're experiencing way better numbers than last year, so that's something to be very excited for. And finally, the next regular Commission for the Arts meeting will be on March 2nd, 2026 at 5 p.m. in the council chambers. Thank you.
You ready for me? Okay, thank you. First, I want to take the opportunity to say thank you. I have fantastic staff across the board, but Devin has really shown like our depth. Jess Roberts has been out for the past month, and as Devin has shared, our concerts are sold out. We have super high attendance for our lunchtime program at the library, and the artwork is up and people are enjoying it. I appreciate so much you stepping in and really showing amazing leadership, and thank you for doing that. I wanted to take the opportunity to share that, and please share with other people in the field that may have an interest. The Arts Program Manager is currently open. Filing deadline is February 22nd. It's available on the city's website. It takes you to a link for the job information packet. We are doing a national search through Bob Murray and Associates. And like I said, we are deep diving for the best arts program manager that we can find and recruit. This is such a fantastic city with a great love of the arts. So we're expecting very high level candidates, and we will be pulling for the best. That is my report for the day.
Thank you. It's really exciting to hear that the concerts are going so well. I'm a patron of the Music for the Sea, Music at the Sea, and I love it. Maybe you can consider doing 2 nights or 3 nights, since people are busting down the doors to get in. I don't know. So we'll move on to number 10, Commissioner member initiated agenda items. Do we have anybody prepared?
There are none.
Okay. And any future agenda items? Number 11?
There are none.
Okay. So let's takes us to number 12, Commissioner reports. I think that, well, it's too bad that we're missing 2 members tonight. I just wanted to say that this is going to be Commissioner Hebert's last commission meeting, and just really sorry to see you go. We're going to be missed. And also, Commissioner Kadakia, who's absent tonight, and she has added so much to the commission. I just appreciate both of you for your work and dedication. I've learned a lot. I've sat in my seats personally, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, I got to try to measure up to these guys. They're so good at what they do. And I appreciate everything that you've added, and I hope you keep on doing what you're doing, spreading the arts in your life and in the community everywhere you go. To both of you.
Thank you. It's really kind of you. It's been amazing working with all of you, and I think I just changed my mind. I'm going to stay after all. Never mind.
Okay.
No. Thank you. I really will miss being here, but I'm looking forward to rooting you all on and attending lots of events and maybe coming to workshops and just watching the arts continue to flourish in this community. So thank you.
We have we just have a little gift there and a card. I don't know if you saw us signing it. We're trying to sign it really fast.
Somebody had need to open this like on camera.
No, that's all right.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm sure that Chair Fox would be here just gushing out with a lot of gratitude for you both. Does anybody have any more reports?
I just have one quick thing, and I'll just say thank you, and we will miss having you here. I attended the California Arts Council town hall for the creative economy strategic plan that they put together for the state. It was really interesting. There was a lot of great ideas generated and conversations had, things I think we can be thinking about and implement in the city of Encinitas. I know we've talked about Pacific View being part of our creative economy here, and a cultural district and designation, all those things would play into that. And I think it's just it's a great time to, think about really how can we take care of our artists and how can we increase our arts and culture here in our home city. So lots of information online if anyone's interested. It is a pretty exciting time for the Arts Council and for the state to kind of increase those opportunities. So just wanted to share.
Well, I went to the Banksy exhibit at the Selmar Fairgrounds, and it's here for 3 months, and it was really fun. So if you're interested in doing something that's like a pop-up, I was thinking about, I wish we could do this at Pacific View, but I doubt the neighbors would really like the holograms and the lights. But if you have a chance to go to that, it was just a really exciting exhibit last Thursday, so it'll be going on through March, or sometime in March.
I just want to say, I went to the Music by the Sea concert, and I decided to go for the full season, and it's on Friday nights, and I felt at first I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to stay awake, because I'm like really, really tired at the end of the week, but it's just really exhilarating. I love the San Diego Artists Society. Is that what it's San Diego Artists Society?
It's San Diego Music Society.
Music Society with Paul Sang, and it was pretty amazing. I did not fall asleep, obviously. It was like it's exhilarating, and I just love having these exemplary musicians come to our city, and I hope and just exemplary artists of all kinds and dancers and art, and we just have to keep this going. So if that's all, we'll have the adjournment then, and we'll call it at 6:25. And thank you, and have a good evening, everyone.